These are the best waiver wire pickups for Week 11 fantasy football. One is still Ricky Pearsall if he's somehow available. 25% roster in the ESPN Fantasy Leagues, coming off of a 17.4 fantasy point game and back-to-back 11-plus fantasy point games, right? He's implemented into this offense. I'm not saying he's playing the Ayuk role, but he's certainly a substantial part of this passing game. Two is Audric Estime of the Denver Broncos. Now, the stats don't jump off the charts. 6 fantasy points, whatever. 14 carries, and he played in crunch time for the Broncos. Like, this is serious moving forward. He could be the RB1, only rostered in 1.1 of ESPN Fantasy Leagues. But remember, the waivers now, at this point in the season, aren't as important as they were earlier on, so it's tough to find gems. This guy could break out as one late. 3, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 0.6% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues, one big game. Perhaps he's utilized more moving forward. Derek Carr, after the game, said he loves throwing his way and he wants that downfield thing that he originally had with Rashid Shaheed to come back, and now Valdez-Scantling could be the guy to do so. But it's a dangerous pickup considering he averages 4 fantasy points and he hasn't been implemented in this offense in any game but one. Same goes for John Mechie III. He had a really good game on Sunday Night Football, but remember, Nico Collins is coming back. Tank Dell is still there, so he's reverted to a wide receiver 3, 4, 5 range. Dangerous pickup as well, but in deep leagues, definitely deserves a stash if you need to pick somebody up. Still in on Drake May, 11.6% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. I know he only had 11 fantasy points, but that's because they just ran the entire second half because the Bears weren't a threat at all against them. It was 19-3 was the score, so he didn't have to do anything really in the second half. Demario Douglas, another 9-plus fantasy point game. He's getting the targets, another 5-plus target game. 26.4% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. If he's available, he's certainly, I wouldn't say a good flex option on a week-to-week basis, but he's serviceable. Next, we go to Trey Benson. The reason why is this low on the list is 15.9% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. A lot of people drafted this guy, and a lot of the runs were in garbage time, not crunch time, right? Like James Conner's still a workhorse back, and as long as he's healthy, Benson is reverted to a backup role. But he's certainly a good stash just in case Conner gets hurt or if they utilize him and they're ahead a lot like they were last weekend and he has 12 carries for 60-plus yards. Finally, Dawson Knox. I'm not saying he's a good pickup. 1.2% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues, but Dalton Kincaid injured his knee. If he's out, Knox may get 10 fantasy points next week, and that could be the difference in winning your matchup. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you follow for running back rankings coming out tomorrow.